I was just saying, a good way to get your anger out. Have you tried pegging?
Like and subscribe, y'all.
There you go. If you like what you're hearing, subscribe. These are absolutely fantastic tips. Just if you want to get your anger out, try pegging. There you go. Tune in next week where we give you tips on what to do if you're depressed.
A little vitamin D.
Yeah, that can never go. You can never go without.
Follow it up with a little vitamin C.
Vitamin Dick.
Yeah.
You see, that's the way I understood it. I didn't understand it as the actual vitamin. Zoup and I were
outside and touching grass. Who does that?
Nah. So we're normally here to talk about TTRPGs, but this topic is quite interesting. So I want to know what prompted that advice, Zoup.
Oh.
Have you had rage issues in the past?
No, Misfit, you can explain.
So I have I had a comment from like one of those dude bros that is just like, I made a post yesterday about how I feel like an ancient rage inside me because of what is happening here in the United States. And someone decided to make a comment of, oh, I can get that rage out of you. And I was like, I'm going to troll this guy right the fuck back because, like, I hate dude bros. Like, you're not funny. You're not original. You're not anything of those things. So I was, like, typing out my response to this person. I was like, no thanks, I'm good. Zoup was like... Have you tried pegging? That's a good way to get the rage out. And I was like, you know what? That is a good way to get the rage out. Come here, buddy.
Yeah, don't knock it till you try it.
It's true.
But, if everybody kind of indulged in that, this world would be a much peacer place.
I did end up responding to the person.
Yes.
Did you? Please tell me you said that. Please tell me it was.
You into getting pegged?
Nice.
Sometimes there were a few times where I'm like, you know what, this person is not worth my time. But like, and then there are other times where I'm like, no, I'm not having it today. Fuck this. I'm gonna make a comment, and it's probably gonna cause this post to go like to at least blow up a little bit, and I'm okay with that. Because the message of the post is great.
It's fair. Again, it's one of those things. If you can't take it, don't dish it out.
Exactly. If you don't like confident femme figures trolling you back, maybe don't be a troll on the internet.
Yeah, just and don't get me wrong, I'm the sort of person that I do like to kind of prod here and there, but if somebody comes back and says something funny to me, fair play to you.
They're probably going to get really angry, is my prediction. I'll keep everybody updated.
Oh yeah, please, even during the show, even while we're recording, just kind of go, oh, it's them.
It's the guy again.
He's probably going to block me, honestly.
I've taken a step back from Thread. Was this on Threads?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. I'm going to kind of look, because I haven't really been on Threads that much, but I think you're going to bring me back.
Just bringing everybody back. And
I'm just going to kind of see how I can make it worse. Because that is my purview.
You're getting into... Great. I needed this. Hi, everyone.
How's it going? You okay? Good.
I'm just dying laughing, that's all.
Good. So as we kind of mentioned at the top of the show, if you like what you kind of see and what you hear, especially vital life tips like the ones we've just given you, come and join us. Give us subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media, tell your friends about us, because the more sort of listeners we have, the bigger we can grow, and the more reach we can do.
The
So
more we can spread the gospel of
The
pegging.
cheekies. I mean, what?
yeah,
Spread 'em. Don't
we
punch.
spread the word, as it were.
If you got the tattooed on one butt cheek and the word tattooed on your other butt cheek,
There you go. And spread the word.
and then you talk about spreading the word.
There you go. And if anybody ever queries why we don't have like a PG-13 rating, it's probably because of shit like this. Oh, you've gone mute.
You're muted.
In her excitement, she's gone absolutely muted.
Oh, no, that was because I was muted like a dum-dum.
Yeah.
We know because we said you're muted.
Laughing too hard. I didn't hear you. This is what happens when I check threads in the morning. What's up, y'all?
But there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I've been kind of off threads. I've been mainly focusing on the Fediverse like over the past couple of days.
The whatty word?
The what?
Like Mastodon and stuff like that.
Oh.
Just because I fancied a change. You know, the other social media sites are beginning to grate on me, so you know, I'll go try there for a bit. So anyway, we were in the middle of doing some world building.
Yes.
All right, Misfit, you missed it last time, so we're gonna have to kind of
miss things.
catch you up. Because we actually got through quite a bit. We I think we created something quite interesting. So I'm going to give you guys a bit of a recap, which I have written down, but I've also added in sort of Mad Lib styles insert here, which is things that we didn't quite cover. And I thought that maybe we could do like a world building Mad Libs today and kind of fill out those little sort of snippets that we kind of, I don't say we missed them, but things that kind of cropped up as I was rewriting this and kind of went, oh yeah, we're going to need that. This is, just to add a bit more sort of detail. So the basic premise is that Earth has been destroyed by a cataclysm. Insert cataclysm here. The remainder of the human race is divided into two factions who now exist on moons in the orbit of Jupiter, which was selected due to the abundance of liquid hydrogen in Jupiter's atmosphere to be used as a power source. And I've put in, like, the first Mad Lib is need to add pseudoscience. Because, yeah, we kind of need that. So the first, which is like the unnamed elite group, so we need a name for them. In the years leading up to the cataclysm, the richest 1% of society did not have any faith in the plan to save humanity. Instead, they deposited their faith and money into a power-hungry, wealthy narcissist who used his funds to terraform, and I've put either Ganymede, Europa, or other moon of Jupiter. He also funded a project to create a new race of sentient humanoids that could subsist by photosynthesis to use as the workforce. In the centuries since the cataclysm, this elite caste has spread to other moons of Jupiter. Right, so then we've got the other unnamed sort of free group living on another moon, as it were.
No, it was a piece of Earth.
Still getting there. Still
Okay.
How dare you interrupt?
I'm so sorry.
Pegging. Anyway. Okay, so once the impending cataclysm was known, the world's greatest minds got to work to ensure the survival of the human race. The plan was to, and again a big paragraph of insert pseudoscience here to explain how the cataclysm would be survived as well as the journey in space into Jupiter's orbit. So that was the thing. It was a piece of Earth that kind of became another moon. However, due to insert reason, the plan didn't work, perhaps due to actions committed by the unnamed elite group. The plan was only partially successful, with only a fraction of the population surviving and being sent into space, eventually joining the other moons in Jupiter's orbit. The unnamed kudzu people are sentient life forms created by splicing the DNA from the kudzu plant with human DNA. They are grown as opposed to birthed and sustained via photosynthesis and hydration. They were created to be the working class for this elite group. So we did quite a bit.
Why kudzu?
Because Zoup made a very, very good point. Because one of the questions that we asked was, okay, so this 1% group, okay, they're going to need people to do the work.
Because we all know that they won't.
Yeah, they won't do anything like that. So then it started creating a bit of a socio-political discussion as because they're going to need a workforce. And we've decided we would have to be very careful because it would be very evocative and it would invoke sort of real world history and potential prejudices. And also from a narrative perspective, Zoup's idea was, well, they're not really going to want to be feeding these people.
No, for sure not.
So having
so scarce.
Having a sentient sort of race that can survive through photosynthesis, you got cheap labor.
Yeah, but why specifically kudzu? Sorry, I know kudzu as like a really invasive species.
That's why.
So, oh, okay.
Because it is invasive. It survives. They're like, it destroyed the South, but it will power us.
Damn.
Yeah,
I dig it. Okay. I was just wondering. That was like, why kudzu? Why that specifically? What?
No, I mean that was a Zoup thing, and it was fantastic. I loved it because I think it's really cool because you now get to create a new race of people without having to kind of lean on sort of very, very tragic and horrible history and known prejudices in these times of all. So yeah, that was the kind of scope. So I thought for this episode we could kind of lean into those blanks that need filling in, and kind of discuss what that could be. So
I also double checked, and Jupiter is 90% hydrogen and 10% helium.
So yeah, so that is, I mean, it has a weird plausibility to it. You know, it's not realistic, but at the same time, it's not a massive leap of faith. It's not a massive, because, you know, magic and all this. It doesn't lead us to that point, but it's still obviously something that, you know, we don't have the science to back it up, but at the same time, potentially could. So I kind of like that. I kind of like it. So where do you guys want to start? Let's...
right now?
No, I mean, not when, where?
Oh, right. That makes way more sense. I promise y'all, I've had caffeine this morning. I think I need another caffeine.
It's the English accent that does it.
God, it fucks me up every time.
All right, so do you guys want me to like start from the top and we'll go like point by point?
Yeah.
So the first thing was, it was the Earth has been destroyed by a cataclysm. The remainder of the human race divided into two factions. Abundance of hydrogen to be used as a power source, and I put need to add pseudoscience.
So what they have is they have these vacuums that like the ship is outfitted with these vacuums that are like attached to a giant tank, right? And so they drop the hose into the atmosphere of Jupiter and it sucks up the hydrogen and helium.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
Okay. Wait, I have to look up.
So how are we creating water?
Hydrogen.
Everything needs water.
That is true.
Could be synthesized water if they're getting.
I mean, there's the kudzu people.
I mean, like, they could use photosynthesis for other things as well. So they could use
you still need water. They still need to, like, everything. Every living creature needs water, unless we're talking about like weird alien.
If you're getting hydrogen and you're able to produce oxygen, you can potentially
technically produce water.
Technically,
Yeah.
I have no scientific background to back me up on this, but I just know that that's its compound. So you could.
Okay, so Jupiter has water. Data from NASA's Juno probe suggests water makes up about 0.25% of the molecules in Jupiter's atmosphere over the equator, which is roughly 3 times more than the sun. This water exists primarily in vapor and ice crystals deep in the atmosphere, with potential water clouds underneath the visible ammonia clouds.
Okay, so.
Ooh, I'm getting like moisture farmer vibes from Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it. I mean, these sort of ships that go down into a lower sort of orbit of Jupiter to be able to extract hydrogen. What is it?
Okay.
What was it? Hydrogen, helium.
Europa is strongly believed to have a global saltwater ocean beneath its icy surface.
Okay, so Europa, water.
They also say that there may be other Galilean moons, like Callisto, may also.
Okay. Right, so I mean that kind of, because one of them is about the size of the Earth anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, they actually, someone was saying that they think that Europa actually might have everything Europa has a thin oxygen atmosphere. And yeah, it might have actually everything you need.
So it could be plausible to say that, this group of people just flat out terraformed Europa.
Mm-hmm.
To make
that makes the most sense to me.
To make it habitable, and they still kind of go down and extract from, because obviously it won't have any necessary sort of fuels.
Yeah, it won't have dead dinosaurs.
So it won't have anything like that. So that could be what is mined, for want of another word, from like the atmosphere of Jupiter. All right, so I'm gonna write that. Terraform. Okay, terraform. Are we using sort of ships to do this terraforming, or are we creating a sort of like a Dyson sphere-esque sort of thing?
What is a Dyson sphere?
I think it's it's like a megastructure that goes around a sun to kind of convert the radiation into power. But I think that might be a bit too far flung.
Yeah. I would say if the upper echelon made it to this point, their ships probably have some sort of way to convert and or clean water to make it like drinkable and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it is totally feasible to say that they have a water refining ship. Like the ship is just manned with a like skeleton crew that is their whole job is to go collect water.
So hydrogen is used as a fuel primarily by converting its chemical energy into electrical energy via fuel cells, which emit only water and heat. So as long as they have the thin layer of oxygen, then they can use the hydrogen, and when they convert it into water and heat, they can drink the water, and the heat heats up Europa to make it livable.
So yeah, full on terraform.
Yeah. So and that's possibly why they need these kudzu sort of people to basically man these, because it's gonna be fucking dangerous, isn't it? To kind of get into close proximity of
just like pure hydrogen. Yeah.
So they more probably die than survive, but they don't care. They just grow more.
This is the start of where this show is going to be the start of my descent into becoming a cult leader that actually plans this all out and convinces people that we can go live on Jupiter.
So you heard it here first.
All right then.
Okay. Let's all join the cult of Zoup. All right, so I think that. So we've got terraforming and. All right, so this one I think is going to be interesting. So this group of basically bastards, the 1% group, they're going to need a name. We're going to need to be able to refer to them, and I think they're going to need two names. They're going to need a name that they call themselves, and then a name that they're referred to by the normal people. No, that like the normal people, the people that aren't them,
the 1%ers.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, knowing or seeing the way the elite work in our real world, I think it's going to be that it's going to be a self-aggrandizing, almost semi sort of spiritual. I am chosen by God.
Sure. They would absolutely make themselves into minor deities.
But without kind of invoking any present day religions, because I think
the alphas,
the originals,
alpha. I'm liking alpha. I'm going to write that down. Alpha and original. You need something like supreme in there, don't you?
Celestial keepers.
Okay, let's write that down. Celestial keepers.
I hate that. Oh, that just makes me want to punch him in the face.
Good. That's the whole point.
We are the originals. Overlords. We are the alphas. We are the celestial keepers.
Oh, you've got them.
We open the stars to you, vomit. I hate them.
Again, that is the point. They are designed to be hated. The order of. Okay, I'm happy to put a pin in that, but I think we've got a couple of good ideas. All right, so we've gone with Europa, yeah, because of the high water content, the thin layer of atmosphere. So that's that. I can change that back. All right, so we'll call them the Celestial Keepers for now, because that is it's easier to refer to them as such. So I think the other group, the other survivors, the ones who come later, which are going to be most of the player characters, are going to probably want to be from there. I think they would have been called something. They wouldn't have given themselves a name. I think the elite would have probably named them. And they would have potentially embraced it.
Yeah, they definitely. I get the sense that they feel very entitled.
Yeah, 100%. They are basically.
Everything is their way or the highway.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you've got this other sort of group, other subset of a population.
I think they're called the Hitchers.
Oh,
the reason being because the elite look at them as the hitchhikers who hitchhiked on the piece of earth that came, flying out.
I like hitchers. Yeah, the hitchers, 100%. I think that's a really good addition. Okay, and so. What they would have done, the Hitchers would have done, they would have named their sort of home. They would have named where they live, which we've already kind of said is a piece of Earth. And I don't want to do something like Terra Nova because that's been done like 100 times. I think there was even a series called that. So
I mean, so I feel like I wonder if we could leave that up to the players, or if we could name it one thing but tell players or tell like the GMs that they could change the name based on the part of Earth that was flung out. Because like if it was originally we were talking about Florida, and I imagine them just calling it New Florida.
Yeah, but then
humans are notoriously uncreative.
So we'll leave that for a moment. So the next bit is the pseudoscience to explain how we avert the cataclysm. I've got an idea. I kind of want to run by you. So I was thinking that, maybe the cataclysm is something that is going to not only wipe out the life on Earth, is going to completely obliterate it.
Well, I think originally what I was thinking, because it cracks off, is that a meteor hits it. And instead of just decimating all of Earth, it hits it in such a way that it fractures it.
So what I was thinking is maybe part of the efforts to survive was to orchestrate that fracture.
Okay, so you're saying the fracture happened on purpose.
Yeah,
they built a wedge so that the meteor would hit the wedge and crack it.
Maybe one of the tectonic plates. They found a way to.
No, this is more just how my creative brain works. This is very Captain Harlock. Has anyone read anything Captain Harlock? I love Captain Harlock. Okay, so Captain Harlock, basically there is a group of people trying to keep the majority of humans away from Earth. Under the guise that it is no longer viable, it is a bad place to be, blah 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 blah. What's really happening is there is a very very elite group of people who live on Earth because it's still like a healed place and still livable, but they wanted everyone else off of it.
Yeah, it's similar in the sense that there is an elite group of people who don't want everybody else within their sort of living.
So what if the cosmicalism or whatever is false? It's not real, but everyone hyped it up to be real, and that's why everyone had to evacuate.
In this case, they are on a piece of Earth, so Earth actually broke off. Like a piece of Earth broke off and became a moon of Jupiter.
So what I was thinking is maybe they kind of orchestrated around one of the tectonic plates,
and they said this plate can go.
Yeah, and basically knowing that the reality of getting the entire planet moved was going to be impossible, so they kind of, the chunk of Earth is one of the tectonic plates that they've managed to separate.
How did it maintain its earthiness?
That is the.
Oh, is that our pseudoscience? We're hand waving it under wibbly wobbly magic.
That is the part. That is the part that is distinctly hand waved.
Yeah, that is okay. Yeah, that is going to be like full on sort of sci-fi. It works because we say it does.
It got trapped in its own atmosphere.
Or they created a, for want of a better word, force field, or a sort of synthetic atmosphere.
A protective bubble.
Okay, so the Juan de Fuca plate is the smallest tectonic plate. It covers approximately 250,000 square kilometers in the eastern North Pacific Ocean off the coast of Washington and British Columbia. So they could, I'm trying to make sure that it does, okay. it does seem to include some of Washington. Like, it does seem to include some land.
Hmm.
So that would be the smallest plate that they could explode off. And then there are minor plates. There are other minor tiny tectonic plates. But Juan de Fuca is commonly cited as the smallest major tectonic plate. God, I love the internet.
So yeah, you could have, like, in the years leading up to this thing that's happening, a mass sort of movement of population from all around the world into this one spot, and that causes an overpopulation. It could be just a vast sort of expanse of megacities. So how are we thinking? How are we feeling about that? Yeah?
I'm trying to find out exactly where the edges are.
Alright, so tectonic plate. So yeah, maybe a few weeks prior to this asteroid hitting, that's when they sort of, I want to say, detonate things along the fault lines to separate it.
Mm-hmm.
With like a controlled explosion, which would send it out towards Jupiter, which in of itself would take years to get there.
It would take so many years to get there.
So then we have a period of time what we can call the dark times or something like that. Where
Well, it also would beg, how many generations are we into this? Like, how many generations separated from these events to who is running the shebang now?
Okay, how long?
not entirely sure. That I don't know.
And then how has living in space, like deep space, I can't really say deep space, but space.
Okay, a trip to Jupiter with current technology takes between 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
Okay,
It's not
so
really generational.
if we're going, I mean, I don't know what about I don't know, because obviously it won't be propelled. It'll be propelled by the immediate separation. So
yeah.
if we say maybe 20 years, takes
So
20
a
years.
generation.
Yeah,
Okay.
so a generation. So people's grandparents lived on Earth.
I don't think I can ask the internet how long would it take a piece of Earth to get to Jupiter. I think that might be stretching the limits.
I think the internet might be like, excuse me, what? Do you want a generative AI answer? Because I could give you that.
Okay, so making a note of that. So yeah, so complete and utter pseudoscience. In the years leading up to this catastrophe, the rest of humanity that weren't the sort of 1% managed to come together and find a way to separate. What was the plate called?
The Juan de Fuca.
Juan de Fuca. Fuca plate with everybody who kind of wanted to, because I'm guessing there was a lot of the population that went, no, we'd rather just.
I'd be among them. Yeah, I'd rather just die here. Fuck it.
Yeah. So yeah, a large, group of the population that, in a way, kind of destroy Earth before this cataclysm hits.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the very sciencey people manage to figure out how to use the impact of the.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, if they put it right, if they set charges all along the plate to eject it, and they set it off right as the asteroid is hitting Earth, that would cause that particular area to shoot off, and the resulting collision would add extra oomph to throwing it.
Yeah, I like that. So, and that's probably why that tectonic plate was chosen
Yeah.
Because when the time of impact, that was the perfect sort of
closest to Jupiter.
it's the closest to the trajectory that's needed to fall into Jupiter's orbit. There you go. Who says pseudoscience doesn't work?
Not me. I love pseudoscience. I love taking science and just like making it sound almost plausible.
Yeah. So, but then that does give us that a lot of time to play with it. So, what are you thinking, Misfit? Yeah. All right. So,
let's talk a little bit about maybe to Misfit's point, the society on the planet for the 5 to 10, 20 years.
Yeah. Because we would see like serious collapse of everything, because like now there's a giant gaping hole and all of the water in the ocean is going to be rushing into that hole.
Yeah, so I mean,
now,
that's obviously...
Does it like go all the way down to the core of the planet? Is it just like it's going to be a really bad analogy and I'm so sorry, but it's the only one that's coming to my brain. Is it kind of like cutting out cancer, where you just cut a hole and like plop it out? How is this happening? Because depending on how that happens, like the earth will collapse pretty damn fast. Like without our oceans, we die. So
well, so yeah, no, it definitely would not go all the way to the core, because once it gets liquid, so it would probably be the mantle up into the part where it gets liquid.
Yeah. And yeah, so obviously the things we need to think about is obviously how do they maintain atmosphere?
We get no beachfront.
Yeah, I mean, so effectively they're turning a part of the Earth into a de facto sort of ship.
Yes.
So they would need, obviously, some sort of plausible...
Now, were the ships built before this or after this?
I'm thinking that the elite left Earth maybe 50 years prior.
They knew this was going to happen, those dirty, dirty people.
Yeah, that's it. They knew this was going to happen, so that's why they left. And then in the preceding years, that's when whoever was left on Earth kind of went, right, fuck, we need to do something. So on Earth, there's a stockpile, the people kind of the people who were likely to use them left. So there's a stockpile of sort of nuclear weapons that could be used to sever a tectonic plate.
Damn. Yeah. Shit. I don't even know.
And then obviously you've got, how do we survive in space?
Well, I mean, okay, so we know the human body, in extended periods of time in zero gravity deteriorates. Your bones deteriorate. Your muscles deteriorate. So like, would they become like Wall-E blob people?
I think there would be a gravity.
Okay, so we have gravity generation.
There would be a gravity, because all objects have have their own gravitational pull. So once you separate, it wouldn't be as strong as the Earth because of the lack of mass.
So it'd be like the moon gravity, where you can kind of like bounce and...
Potentially, yeah. But I assume, very intelligent people would know how to kind of go, science it away, and
Science I think that's hand wave.
I think that's what scientists do. I can't be sure. We'll have to ask Zoup for that.
Well, I mean, science fiction writers.
So yeah, I'm thinking that, but like in terms of actually surviving the vacuum of space, do we do the dome approach where everything is covered?
I would imagine, yes.
Or would it be an issue of people can't go outside without respirators and and all that jazz.
Okay, so for a spherical body, the gravitational acceleration at the surface g is given by g spherical equals gm divided by r squared, where it's a big G equals 6.674 times 10 to the minus 11 meters cubed per second squared per kilogram. But mass is the mass of the body and r is its radius. So we can calculate how much if you wanted to pull, all I'm saying is if you wanted to pull gravity into it, I could calculate that for you.
Or
I just think gravity is important, because if not, we lose body mass.
Or we could just make it up.
I love the just make it up. Let's just bullshit our way through this. Is it safe to say that there is a satellite built in the orbit of one of these moons? Like in the orbit of Europa, there is a satellite that just kind of like wee around it.
I don't see why not.
That the Omega or the Alphas, the Celestials, whatever the fuck that they live on, and that's how they like dictate what other people do.
I mean, they have a space, like they originally went with a giant spaceship. That probably could be boosted by several satellites that had previously been sent, like probes and the like had been sent by NASA over time and things like that.
We use our space trash to improve things.
Yeah, and I bet the spaceship is still active. It has become another sort of moon. You know, it is in orbit, and maybe even the elite of the elite could be up there.
The people who run this bitch. By this bitch, they vaguely gesture to everything.
Just like everything, just everything.
Everything. It's all mine now.
What I really love is in this compilation that we write, there is a section at the back that's called Zoup's calculations, where I make up calculations that explain everything based on actual calculations, so that people are just like, what the fuck?
And then we can do like another page, which is Juan's calculations, and everything is written in crayon.
And we can have one that's Misfits calculations, and it's just my face scrunching.
It'd be like, insert science here, just in red crayon.
No, you know what? It's gonna be that picture of the lady with all the question marks.
Yes.
No, the dude with 100%. All the question marks.
The math flying behind them, and they're just like, it's me on a regular basis. You present me with math, I'm like,
okay,
numbers are a thing.
So the question is, during the time that they were getting ready for this cataclysm, where they were kind of planting nuclear devices along the tectonic plates to detonate the moment that the Earth gets hit, to jettison the remainder of the population towards Jupiter, did they have time to come up with some form of sciencey bubble in order to maintain an atmosphere and gravity?
Yes, I would like to believe that if they knew about this way in advance, that they probably gathered all the greatest minds in the world to figure out science.
Yeah, they scienced the shit out of it.
They bullshitted their science, and it somehow worked.
It was like, yeah, they came up with a sciencey science that did it. All right, so remainder of Earth survives by science. And I will put that in question marks to come up with like the pseudoscience, because that could be a good plot point. You know, if this Hitcher's moon that isn't technically meant to be there is within orbit, and the celestial fucks faces, whatever they're called, are not happy about it, then that could be a target for them. That could be a plot point of, oh shit, we need to protect this.
I mean, if you think about it, right? Preppers, like doomsday preppers. I don't know how much food they prep in advance, but like if
About
they
10 years.
calculated about 10 years. So if they calculated that it would take about 10 years to get from Earth to Jupiter, they could have prepped to have the food, and they could have prepped to have like places that they could be underground and a whole bunch of stuff. And once they get pulled into Jupiter's orbit, they immediately start looking at how to get what the Celestials, like steal from the Celestials to make their lives better.
Yeah, so that could be other plot points. As okay, we need to go here because there is a device that will help us create an atmosphere. That will. So it can be not necessarily a survival sort of game, but that could be the sort of driving force behind a lot of campaigns in this world. Is not one of greed. It's not one of recompense. It is one of, okay, we need to survive.
Yeah, I mean we're it's really cyberpunk, but in space.
Yeah, so I mean, because there are places on Earth which do have a sort of storage of sort of seeds.
Yep.
To have basically every seed ever known to us down there in order to survive something like this. So I don't think it's that far fetched to kind of go, yeah, they may have prepared for this.
One, do you know about the caverns of cheese?
That rings a bell.
The United States has caverns of cheese.
I've heard of this, and I can't remember where.
Weird cheeses.
Just imagining if the caverns of cheese were on the part of the planet that gets shuttled.
Oh, that's a good thing. What are we doing for food?
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying they would prep. They would prep food for 10 years in the same way that Doomsday Prepper would.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah, and
after that.
Well, after that, they do have sunlight. If they are able, and if they have a way to kind of recycle their hydration, they could grow their food, technically speaking.
Algae farming is a thing. It's kind of a very popular thing. I wouldn't necessarily want to eat algae every day of my life, but it is a thing that people do on the regular, and that's everyone says algae is space food.
Everybody get excited for seaweed soup. Seaweed soup. Our daily seaweed soup. I did play a character. We played a short game of Ink, which is where you're all dead, like you've died and you're in like an afterworld and you're going through the world of Ink trying to get to the next step. And somehow my character ended up being somebody who had been on a spaceship where Earth had been destroyed, and they got all their food by growing moss on the outside of the ships.
Well, that's feasible, again. Plausible, and that's what we need. So yeah, maybe they do have like moss and algae and things like that, and a collection of seeds and prep for that. And once they get into this orbit, then they are possibly able to begin to kind of subsist. So we've kind of got the broad strokes of how. Let's talk about what it kind of looks like, because 8.5, 9 billion people in a very small part of the Earth.
It wouldn't be 8. It would be like maybe 1 million. I don't, because like you said, I don't think most people would go.
I
Okay,
think
so
there would be a group of very brave people who would go, and then I think that there would be a bigger group of people like me who's like, fuck that.
I
I'll
mean,
just die here.
the people that would go are obviously the people that are aware of it. Because let's say everybody's aware of it. There's going to be
Right.
people who are deniers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ain't going to happen. Then you've got people who just kind of, you know, it's against my belief or something like that. So we do have a large population. So I think, just for fun, what we should do is we should roll a D100 to see what percentage of people would actually go. And I think it should be D100 divided by 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Just to avoid the higher.
So I rolled 38. So 38%.
Divided by 2.
Divide by 2.
So
nice. 19%.
It's still a substantial amount. So 19% of 9 billion people. You know,
and I think I'm wondering, because we've almost hit an hour.
Thank you,
do we
Dice.
want the next episode to be talking about the types of people who would be on that chunk of?
I think the next episode we talk about the society itself.
Yeah.
We kind of talk about what the society would potentially look like under these conditions. Because if we're talking like a 19% of 9 billion people, that is about...
That's a lot of fucking people.
How
many ships are going out? How many, like...
No, they're not ships. They're on the planet. They're on the piece of Earth.
Yeah, so it is a small chunk of Earth that is jettisoned out. So you're still talking about 2 billion people, give or take.
How many square footage?
Not a lot.
Is 250,000 square kilometers.
Oh no!
I think it would be less than 19%.
Yeah, with that little of space. Well, okay, no. I think 19% is accurate, because you also have to take into consideration people dying in transit. You have to take into consideration all kinds of things, like...
But if we go like the mega city route, where one building can hold a few million people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that is a staple.
It's like jettisoning New York City into space.
And mega cities are a staple.
What it is, but it's bigger than that, because how big is New York City?
Okay, and are they using any of this land for like farming or like agriculture?
They're probably going to need to.
But I'm if you are,
I'm at the point where
I don't think there would be much sort of farmlands. I think
there wouldn't be.
I think it'd be
people.
Okay. So New York City is approximately 800 kilometers squared. So that is actually very small compared to 250,000 kilometers squared. So there is actually a surprisingly large amount of space.
Oh my god, I forgot how to do fucking...
So is it also maintaining ocean water, or are we saying that as it's...
Yeah, there is ocean water in that.
Okay.
So yeah, 90% of 9 billion is about 1.7 billion people. So
it is. So America is 9,800,000. So let's say is 10 million. So it is about a fifth of the US in size.
I think we should discuss this in the next episode, because I think this is interesting, because again, if you're talking about megacities, just an endless sea of megacities. You know,
the US is pretty large, so like, you know, even if you give half of that to water, so I think assuming about 1 billion people.
All right, well, we will catch up with this next time. I
Yes,
hope
we'll talk
everybody's
about societies.
I hope
I
everybody's
think this is going to be Misfits thing. Misfits been like, oh my god, the science. I'm just going to ask you guys. And Zoop's like, I'm just going to
Science
make up the
is
science. But
not my
the next
forte.
one, the next part is going to be Misfits forte, which is
yeah,
all the
definitely.
weird groups of people.
Oh yeah, we can definitely look into I'm definitely interested in that because now we're getting into the sort of granular.
Yes.
We've done like the broad strokes, and now we're kind of figuring out things a bit closer to home, and things that people can really relate to. So, with that, if you guys want to give a shout out to anything, or you want to tell us what you're up to, by all means, go for it.
Oh, you meant us. I
Yes.
thought you were inviting the listeners to tell us what they're up to. I was like,
Well,
that's
yes,
a nice
I would love
way
to know what our
end it.
listeners are up to. But
Yeah.
Vampire with No Name is about to wrap up its first season. I'm super excited. We have a Q&A form out floating about. Ask us all those nitty-gritty questions. We will be answering them in a episode. I have Mage coming out, and soon I have a Chicago by Night coming out, which is super exciting, and I am so excited for that cast. Everyone is phenomenal. We've been having a great time recording it. So
Amazing.
Oh, speaking of VTM, check out Rat City by Night on Game Master Monday, where we play a weirdly pared down version of VTM where we completely ignore all the lore and play rats in a society that does not know vampires that are meeting their very first rat pyres.
All right. Well, as for me, you can find me on most social medias at Natural One. If you like what you hear with us and you enjoy kind of the sort of shit that we come up with, then give us a like, follow, just tell your friends about us, and catch us next time where we actually go into the specifics of what this society will look like. I want to say a big thank you to the Dungeon Maestro for the use of our theme tune, All That Jazz. Check them out on YouTube. They are absolutely fantastic. And I also want to thank my wonderful co-host for joining me this evening. It's been great chatting to you guys, as always. And most of all, I just want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy day, listening to us waffle on about tabletop role-playing games. Thank you very much, and good night.